okay, that's what I call loyalty.
That's very interesting.
So if you don't have that, nobody will be loyal to you. The business itself will never be loyal to you, and there's penalty.
There's a penalty.
You know, aside your 5 liters already, you are going to collect punishment, to serve punishment. So, but because you now know, okay, my boss or my teacher will flog me, because they will discipline you. Sometimes when you are walking around the road, you see where the teacher tells the apprentice to
yeah, I've seen that a lot, and particularly I find it a bit embarrassing because Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Hello and welcome. This is Knowledge for Edge with Abdurrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. On today's edition, I have a Mujahid with us in the studio today. Our guest is also an entrepreneur. He is a fashionista. He's somebody who likes to make everybody looks good. I'm excited to announce that we have in the building the person of Tailor Bubu. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So today, alhamdulillah, I have the very rare honor and privilege to be chilling with the MD and Chief Executive of the Bubu fashion brand. Let's talk about your works, what you do. It is very inspiring to know that someone like you, who is very much active in the deen, you know, trying in your best capacities possible to propagate the deen, then you also have a business. Not just a business, you have a fashion brand. And we know that in the world that we are in now, fashion is a very, very serious business.
True.
In so many regards. You know, apart from the involved, you know, it is something that is trending, always evolving. You know, it gets everybody talking. How did you get into fashion?
Now, you know, from the onset, we've always wanted to do either of two.
Okay.
Aside da'wah, we actually wanted to be on the screen.
Okay.
That was my childhood dream, actually, to be on the screen in terms of acting or in terms of broadcasting.
Allahu Akbar.
So, and either of that or fashion. You know, we liked fashion right from time. So the problem where the difference came in, where we had the change of mind, was back then in Madrasa, in Markaz, when I actually was in GSS3. Then I was trying to choose a path. You know, then in our school, when you get to SS1, you either be in the science class or in the arts class. So I wanted to make a decision then on which of the classes I would be. So, and if I were to be in the art class, I would have decided to be in theater. I would have decided to study theaters. So what I would have been a thespian. So what happened was I asked them about our Imam back in Markaz, Sheikh Muhammad Nasir, about acting, and he told me one word. He said, I asked him about acting for men, how is the Islamic view, and he told me something. He said it is makruh.
Okay.
I said
disliked.
Yes, disliked, and I asked him why. He said the word he used, let me quote him, he said, "Li'annaka talqi bin nisa." He said, because you will come in contact with women. And that day onward, I changed my mindset about acting. And that's the reason we are not acting today. So the only other option I liked I had passion for was fashion. So that was why then when we came back from holidays, we used to go to tailor shop to just see, because then my dad couldn't enroll me in a proper fashion school because I'll be going back in the next few weeks, going back to school. So that was at the moment we entered university, we saw that as an opportunity for us to start our fashion, learning whichever part of fashion. You know, fashion is very wide.
Yeah, it is.
So I wanted to produce.
Okay.
So that was why I had to go learn the process. So when we graduated from university in 2011, so we saw that as an opportunity for us to really go into it, instead of now going to look for jobs around. So that was when we had the proper schooling, then certification, and then the process began from there. So Wallahu Alam, alhamdulillah, today we are where we are, and we hope to go further from there, inshallah.
So let's talk about the brand itself. How did you come up with that name? Now, when I think of the name, the first time I had a contact with you was there was a program I hosted, and you were brought in as a resource person to talk about fashion and give hands-on demonstration on, you know, fashion.
Yes,
that was the first time I met you. And when I heard your name, I'm like, who is this person again? What is this person up to? So tell us, how did the concept exactly, how did it come? What was the inspiration and motivation behind that name?
Yes, you know, these days people want a name that looks so unique, that a name that sounds the English wise.
Exactly, yes.
So, you know, we
call it a name that sells.
Yes. So I'm always unique about the African brand.
Nah.
So that has been my concept right from time, the African brand.
Alhamdulillah.
So I had people, everyone, since my name is Abubakar,
Nah.
most people called me Bubu. So, and then when my friends heard I was into tailoring, I decided to call me Tailor Bubu, Tailor Bubu.
Interesting.
So and I liked the name all of a sudden. I said, okay, maybe this Tailor Bubu. When I was thinking of a proper name to register then on, with the CAC, I thought of, okay, Tailor Bubu will sell better. Because if you know, most times when you send names to for CAC for registration, they tell you this name is not available.
Exactly.
So I felt like I just want one name that will fly just at once, and I felt Tailor Bubu was the best, and that was what we got into. And I know a friend of mine heard Tailor Bubu. She also used her own name. She used her name, Tailor added to her name, and she's selling well where she is in our location. So Alhamdulillah, that was how we came about the name, and we are still proceeding from there. We are progressing, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. So let's now look at what it takes to have a successful fashion brand. Assuming I want to start a fashion brand today, what do I need to do?
Okay, if you want to go into fashion, no, fashion is big.
Okay.
If you look at it, fashion is one of the highest employer of labor. Because if you look at the statistics brought out by the MBS, that is National Bureau of Statistics in 2011, that in the first quarter of 2021, that fashion in Nigeria alone had the labor force of up to 7 million.
Subhanallah, that's a huge figure.
Yes, 7 million. That was just for first quarter of 2021 alone. So what are we saying in essence is that fashion is large, it's very large. It's either you go into footwear production, you go into wristwatch sales, you go into sales of accessories, fashion accessories.
So footwear, wristwatch can be a specialty area on its own.
On its own. Wow. You can even go into already made dresses, ready to wear, street fashion. So fashion is wide. Even some you see them making hair, it is still part of fashion. So that those are brands, those are others or subjects on that fashion itself. So the fashion, if you say you want to go into tailoring, you want to produce garments, then I could say it's either you have the mindset of two.
Okay.
If you have the mindset of either the small scale or you want to do large scale. And I always advise people to start from the bottom, start from the rear, then grow in it. Because you start from top, most times when you don't have the experience, you will fall easily.
That is true.
So when you start something, like you can just buy a normal butterfly machine, then if it's possible to rent a space. Some people started from the front of their houses.
That is true.
So you can start from front of your house, get a normal butterfly machine, and start from there. If people see the output, they see your finished work, that man, this thing is classy.
Exactly.
What happens afterwards is that from one person you've made clothes for, that person will refer another, and that's how you keep growing. From there, you can get money to start up on your own to build something bigger. So, but if you start from so that was why I said either you go for large scale or you go for small scale. So if you are going for large scale, then we'll say, okay, get ready. Okay. Because in this case, you have to buy sophisticated machines. When we talk of sophisticated machines, I don't mean the butterfly we use on our daily, on a regular. What I mean is you get sophisticated machines like the industrial machines, industrial weaving machines. You get the industrial iron. You get everything industrial. Then aside that, you need to have a showroom. Buy standard mannequin, not the usual mannequin you see around. Buy a standard mannequin that when you put out your finished work, when people see them, it pops. Yes. So that's one. So it's either you go for large scale or for small scale. So that large scale is money conscious. Okay. So you have to spend more. But if you go for small scale, but it might take time for you to grow. So that is how it is. So it doesn't require much. It just requires one machine and one small iron. That is for tailoring. Okay. But if you want to go to large scale, then just be ready. Maybe you might have supporters. Okay.
So let's now talk about how the entire fashion industry is structured. How does it really work out there? What does it take to succeed in the fashion industry? Is it just about me going somewhere to sign up, to learn how to sew, to cut fabric and all whatnot? Then eventually upon graduation, I buy a sewing machine myself. I mean, how do I find my footing? Yes. How is the fashion industry structured?
The fashion industry is structured in the way that, number one, you need patience.
Oh,
patience.
How much patience?
In fact, you need very much patience.
Subhanallah.
Yes. Because sometimes you might think a particular design or a particular style will sell. And when you post it on a mannequin, sometimes
it looks entirely different.
It stays there on a mannequin for a week and no one has come to ask you how far. But sometimes a design you don't think might sell is just something simple. something that maybe the aesthetics, maybe the traditional aesthetics you use are not that much. You just did something
something basic,
usual,
not
but
too
you just,
elaborate.
yes, but you just decide to make it, just put a difference. You'll be very surprised that that thing you did that is as simple as that is what will sell more. Yes, we've made names with just simple designs. Something you just created out of luxury. You saw someone working on the street and you say, "Oh, this thing this guy is wearing. Let me just create it like this." You do something like that, and that is what
And it flies, and everybody is asking for it.
That's the way fashion is. So you might not really tell which design will sell. Sometimes it's just trial by error. And when we do our insights, we see, oh, this one is selling more. Then you have to do more of that and then create something similar most times.
Now, I see that in the fashion world, there's a lot of trends. You know, something is trending. Everybody wants to go for it. Now, who are the people that makes this thing trend? For example, can you create a trend?
Yes.
Okay. So how does that work? This trend creation, everybody's going for this style. Everybody wants to make this outfit like this. How does it start? I know social media is really helping in this regard. You know, once you have it done, you just do your posting and promote it as much as you can. But in the real sense of it, how do you make a style or a design trend?
Okay, most times you see styles trend and the tailor himself is not making anything from it.
Oh,
yes.
That can be very sad.
Yes, because the style you are trending, many times you get a celebrity to put on the designs.
Okay.
You give it to him for free.
Oh.
The celebrities don't pay for work. That's the truth. Yes.
Seriously?
Yes, they don't.
So how does the designer now benefit from that?
The designer benefits just in terms of names. So maybe most people who tag you.
Oh, so when you know that XYZ celebrity's outfit was done by Taylor Bubu, yes, then Taylor Bubu gets a lot of credit,
yes,
and perhaps a lot of patronage because of that.
That's the only way you can sell.
Oh, I see.
But if you say maybe because your trend, you made a particular trend, most people don't even give credit.
Oh.
You see someone, maybe if you make a trend, maybe you create a design, maybe a blue, then a touch of white all around it. Just watch out, next tomorrow someone has done the same thing, and then what happens next? You see maybe another color, and the person might even do something in form of rainbow, using your same design.
Interesting. And
it sells more than you.
So now in my own line, there's something called patent. Can you patent a design in the fashion industry?
No, you cannot at the moment. You can't.
Is it a Nigerian or a West African factor, or this is globally sustainable that you cannot patent a design or a pattern that you have come up with?
Let's say it's African.
Okay, it's an African concept.
Because if you come up with a design now and you say, okay, this is a specialty of so and so from so and so brand. If you do that, just don't worry yourself much. Go down the street, walk down the street in a couple of months, and then you see that same design,
replicas of it. You have no control. You have no agency to cry to. Nobody to.
The only thing is, the only difference here might be in terms of quality. The quality of your fabrics might be different from other person's quality of fabrics, and that might just be the only thing. Because most people, if you start a trend or you bring out a design and you peg it at a high price, don't worry yourself. There are tailors down the street that will do that same design for you, and they'll tell you this design that one is selling you 150,000. Don't worry, I'll do it for you at 20,000. So now the time you spend in creating such designs, the pattern drafting, the sketches and everything you bring into play, you see many times it will just go to waste. They might without even credit. So that's why most times you see the fashion designers these days, the ask is just to make money. Anywhere the design is coming from, they are
just for them to follow suit and replicate.
Just follow, because that's where you make money. If you post a design that you made or you hang it on your mannequin outside, people see you, so this guy don't create this design and they like it, you make money. So that's the only way most people make money. Most people don't make money from intellectual property these days in the fashion industry.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. So, I mean, with this, it means that an average fashion designer has to be very, very creative so that you keep coming up with designs that your customers would like.
Yes.
Is that correct?
True.
Now, moving forward, how do fashion designers out there keep up with this rapid change of styles and, you know, concepts in the fashion industry? How do you people keep up?
Yeah, number one, you know, keeping up is all about you checking trends.
Okay.
Because most times we check trends on Instagram and other social media platforms. We check out what someone else has created. Then you create something that is a bit different from that.
Okay. Or give it an extra touch.
Yes. So you create something people will like. Even when that person sees it, him will want to copy from you too. So you see, when you do things like that, you tend to meet up with your customers' expectations, and it keeps you in the market. Because if you look at, most times you focus on one particular kind of design. Maybe you are someone who sews only sportswear.
No.
You will. That is what they know you for, and no one will bring a trendy design to you
For you to make.
Or you focus on hoodie. Like some people, they say their focus is hoodie. If you focus on hoodie, most times you won't make money. Even those who sew only suit, most times they don't make money as those who create trends. So that's why you see, if you are a master in one, then try to dive into others. Like you might be sewing suit, then sew agbada, sew other senator wears. Then you focus on maybe you sew only Ankara, for example. Sorry, you onga will kill you.
Now, but don't you think it is difficult? Because I know a lot of tailors that will tell you, I do only male wears. I don't sew for female. I sew for children, and I don't sew for adults. I do this and I don't do that. Specialty for me, it's good because also in my own field, it's important that you specialize and become, you major in a particular line and become a specialist in that particular line. So don't you think moving forward in fashion as a way of being able to carve out a niche for yourself and then dominate massively in that particular niche, don't you think there might be need for you to look for a particular area and decide to put more attention in it instead of just chasing all the trends as they are coming?
When we talk of chasing trends here, we don't say most people who sew male wears don't sew female.
Okay.
So don't sew for female.
Okay.
Those who sew unisex, most times they end up hungry because a male won't like to bring their work to you, and females might not do the same. Okay. So that's why it is good for you to focus on one. Okay. Either you focus on male wears, male attires, or you focus on female attires. Okay. And many a time when we talk of male attires, we have different things. No. We have the sewing of joggers, we have the sewing of pants, we have sewing of agbada, we have senator wears.
That's a lot already.
So male attires alone, we have so many of them that most times you see those who sew only suit. Most times they even end up running sometimes because of too much work. Sometimes if you sew only agbada, you might end up running because the people who want to sew agbada, they know that is your course, that is your area of specialty,
and you are very good at it.
So most people specialize already. We specialize on one, that is sewing male attires. But inside that specialty of male attires, you sew different trends, different brands. Yeah, we have variants. You sew this, you sew that, you sew this. So they are all male attires. But if you now say, okay, now somebody should focus on sewing only pants. Maybe he sews pants and the pants are trendy. Except you are too creative. That's when you survive in the industry like that in Nigeria. Because if we see maybe someone sews only pants, even those you see on Instagram or whatever form of social media platform that sew only this, they do other things. Okay. So if you don't have backup, don't specialize in Nigeria. You can only say you sew for men, but you should make sure you sew varieties for men.
So let's now talk about success and some of the determining factors of success in the fashion industry. Could we say that the male fashion designers are more successful than the female, or could we say the female fashion designers are more successful than the male? What are some of the indicating factors influencing how much money you can make based on the fact that you are a guy or whether you are a lady?
Yeah, you see, female, if you talk of male or female, I will tell you it's not about gender. Okay. It's about the tailor himself or herself, that is the fashion designer, how he or she rates himself or herself. So if, for example, I might be sewing corset, and I tell you corset is 15,000. Now maybe at the end of the day, after the whole stress and all the processes, I end up making only 1,000 from that 15,000 you gave me. Okay. So will I say I'm successful? No, I am not. So it's all about the name. How you yourself as a tailor, how do you brand yourself? Okay. What is it that you are making? Now I might say, okay, as a fashion designer, you want to sew a senator wear. This is my rate. My rate might be 60,000. My rate might be 40,000. Now, if you bring that money, I know the quality of fabric I'm going to use for you. So when I know the quality of fabrics, maybe I am buying a fabric that sells for 6,500 per yard or 7,000 or more. So after spending, maybe you are going to use 4 yards, for example, or maybe 3 trouser lengths. At the end of the day, maybe the fabrics alone costs 20-something thousand. Then the accessories used in sewing that fabric everything might sum up to 30,000, and I charge you 45,000. So it means I am making a profit of 15,000, and at least from that 15,000, I will still buy foil. I will foil my gel.
That's like a constant.
Yes, I will buy foil to foil my gel. And how much is foil? These days we see 750 or more. So now, if I am to spend time on a particular design, sometimes you see designs, it's all about what the client himself or herself has paid. Okay. If you pay something less, for example, you paid me something maybe 20,000 for a particular design, I'm not sure I will spend the whole day on your work. If you paid higher based on what I charged you,
No.
you didn't price them, or you gave me the money I requested for, what will happen? Even if I spend the whole day creating your design,
You know it's worth it.
yes, it's actually worth it.
No.
So it's not about gender based. It's not gender based. It's actually the quality of how the tailor himself or herself sees himself and where he or she places himself or herself. That determines his success at the end of the day.
So let's now talk about how Islam has influenced you and your brand.
Now, Islam is one factor that has helped many of us, because sometimes I wonder, like there's a word I used. I remember I was almost leaving the machine when I was almost done wrapping up yesterday. A statement came to mind that what la Allah la kana man.
Okay.
If not for Allah, who would he have been? Sometimes you see this branding of a thing, it affects our pricing, because you might not want to overprice a particular design with a client, because you put the factor like, okay, this person is this, is you consideration is one thing. That's why if you see two clients, you might not charge them the same way.
Why not? Sorry, two clients making the same outfit or different kinds of outfits?
Yes, you might
making the same design. Let me be specific.
The same design. You might not charge them.
How is that fair?
Okay, now no. When I say you might not charge them the same way, what I mean is the quality of fabrics. Now, customer A comes to you and says, "See what I want," and you tell him, "Okay, if this is what you want, see the price for this based on this quality of fabric, that quality of fabric," and he tells you, "I cannot afford that quality.
Okay,
I need a lesser quality." Now maybe we end up going for 30,000 naira.
Okay,
and customer B comes for the same design and tells you, "Okay, see what I want, see what that I want, this and that. I even need a touch of this and a touch of that." And you tell him, "Okay, all these things you want, say the price," and tell you, "No problem." That all you say yes. He sends you the money for the job. So you won't say that you are charging them equally. No, you're not charging them equally. Because
it's a function of the quality.
Yes, quality is what determines price.
Okay.
But for some people who are dubious, they might give you the quality for the price for high quality and use a lesser quality. It happens.
Okay.
But where Islam comes in is what you tell your client is what you do. You don't beat around. You don't cut corners just because you want to make small money that you still give account of. So since we know tomorrow we'll still give account for every kobo we spend, every penny. That's why we see every time we always try to live in accordance with the Sharia.
Absolutely. So let's talk conflict resolution. Because in this industry there can be a lot of mishaps. You could give someone a fabric to make for you and then something could happen. Now I've been in a lot of situations like that. Now let me give you one instance. I gave someone a brand new fabric to make a style for me, and then the next thing is he's returning it. The design has been made, and then I'm seeing a patch at the back. Then he's giving me a story. Oh, something happened, then we had the cut and I had to patch it, and guess what? He didn't tell me. And the person is quite close to me and I just cannot flare up, but I just had to bottle up all of the negative emotions and I moved ahead. Then recently someone also made something for me, but this time around the designer took my measurement. I was there to do all the measurements and everything. Then lo and behold, when the pants came out, I just could not fit in them. And then I gave him a call. "Oh, I'm very sorry, sir. Can you make out time to bring them?" Between now and this time, he has not made any effort to reach out to me to say, "Oh, you called me the other time to say you were not satisfied with what I did for you." Now, for me, these are, I know of people who have actually taken this kind of supposedly mild situations, escalate them, involve law enforcement agents, and then make very huge trouble out of it. So in your own world, in Bubu fashion world, how do you manage these kind of situations if they ever arise?
Okay, number one, customer satisfaction is one thing. When we say it is our watchword, it doesn't mean that when we make something for you, we don't check out, we don't check up on you. Most times you see after you've delivered the clothes, call the clients, how far, hope it fits, and they'll give you a feedback. See, those review of clients is what helps you in your next production. So you see, like that particular tailor you just made mention of who made such mistake, I want to believe maybe he has some apprentice under him. Maybe the apprentice were the ones who made that particular cloth. And what might have happened again is the use of iron. Maybe they don't regulate their iron properly. The iron might have in any way mutilated the cloth. And him now, out of his wisdom as a designer, because in fashion we say any mistake we tailor make, na fashion, na design is still be. So he decides to patch without letting you know.
Exactly.
So him not letting you know is his fault.
And it's also a very awful patching. You know, there are some patching that makes sense and you can deal with it.
Yes.
It's a very awful one, and it's at the back.
Oh, very bad. So the thing is, what he would have done was to inform you, and then if he could have used a U20 design to create something around there, to
more like a knitting sort of.
Yes.
Okay.
When he creates something around there, you can, if either he uses
or replicates it to like make it uniform.
Yes. Either he uses a U20 design, or he uses flock, or even a monogram design to create something there that will unique. That will be unique.
Exactly.
And most people will see that and will say, "Oh, I like this design. This is what I want."
Not knowing there was a mistake.
Yes, there was an error there. Or sometimes he can even use DTF. DTF is more like an image to cover it, and it will look like, oh man, this is a design itself. So the tailor himself, I believe maybe he was overwhelmed with work. Maybe that's why he didn't notice that mistake, because every error is an error itself. If you overlook an error, sometimes that error might bring you down. That error might be what others might hammer on, and then you see your name, you start trending negatively. So that's why everybody needs to be very careful. So that's why in ours, we are very careful with that, and that's what we make sure that what we use a high quality iron. We don't use those ones that you see, whether you regulate or not, it will start changing. It might dent your clothes, dent your fabrics. No, that's not what we want. So that's why as a tailor, you make sure everything you use classic.
Invest in the right,
the right tools,
materials.
Use the right tools, so that even sometimes you might be working and you get a call and the iron is on your clothes. You might walk away, and sometimes when you come back, what will happen? If you are using the wrong iron, it will dent your clothes and even hit down to your table. But what you do sometimes is when you notice something like that, even when you leave it, it will not happen.
Yeah, for a very good quality iron.
That's when you are using a very good. So we should invest in buying the right tools and the right materials for every work that we do, because the quality of your job is what sells you. It's what makes another customer comes to patronize you. Now,
so let's now talk about what it takes to become a successful fashion designer. Let's start from training opportunities. Do people need to go to fashion school, perhaps go to a university that offers a course or a specialty training in fashion? Do they have to go to, you know, this regular fashion homes to learn fashion design? What is the journey like starting up the fashion
starting
business?
up, you know, sometimes we have fashion schools actually, and most of the fashion schools are owned by those who did not go to the who might not have seen the 4 walls of university,
and they have been successful at
it. But most times you see, it's just the kind of example we make concerning the mechanical engineers. You say those who studied mechanical engineering in school, most times they don't fix your car better than those who studied who went to the roadside mechanic.
And that's a fact.
So you see, most of the time, like this in this our fashion industry, this our fashion business, what happens is when you see someone who is ready to learn, what should he do? He goes to somebody he sees who is doing well in the industry and goes to register for apprenticeship. So when you register for apprenticeship, he takes you through the process.
For how long?
Process.
Is there a standard duration?
You know, if anybody tells you 6 months, like those people I see online, I say 6 months, the person is just fooling himself. There's nothing like 6 months in fashion. 6 months, what do you want to learn? Because you didn't have prior knowledge. You don't know how to match machine. You don't know how to tack button. You don't know how to fix clothes. You don't even know how to cut. You want to learn all these things in 6 months? And
fashion is actually very serious. The only fashion learning experience I had was in my primary school. You know, we had this fabric and we sewn and we did all of that. But the funniest thing was that mine was taking my measurements, but after sewing, it ended up not fitting.
So you can see that tailors are trying.
Yeah, honestly, they are doing a great job.
Yeah. So someone who learns this things practically, who has taken it as a field, as a hobby. You must first of all love what you do. When you love what you do, then you see the passion.
So the passion has to be there. The love has to be there. So it's not just because you quoted some statistics just now indicating that, you know, it's a very creative industry, and then people might want to just start to gravitate towards fashion because the numbers are high and they feel that the return on investment is also high. So it means that drive, because of the supposed and expected monetary reward, is not enough to remain relevant in the fashion industry.
If you feel you don't have the patience to go through the process of learning, then just go through, learn the business aspect of fashion. Like you can sell fabrics. If you're not selling fabrics, you can decide to sell other fashion accessories. Like you can see like the brooch, you sell you see those joggers robe, you sell those fashion, whatever one you want to do, whichever one you want to do. but learn it. But that is if you don't have the patience to go through the process of learning fashion design.
So take us through the process of learning fashion design.
The process of learning fashion design, number one, when you already start to learn, you have to be loyal.
Okay.
Because loyalty is what makes you excel in.
What is the definition of loyalty in this context?
Loyalty in the sense that you have to be loyal, you have to respect whoever you are learning from.
Okay.
Because when you don't respect your teacher, you come to the shop whenever you like. That's why I like the penalty most people use.
No.
They'll tell you if you come late to the shop, maybe if we are to resume by 8 and you come 8:01, or we can give you sometimes the privilege of coming maximum 8:30.
Okay.
So when you come from 8:30, you are going to buy 2 liters of oil.
Allahu Akbar. When did this start, please?
That's what most of us do.
Okay.
So
and I'm sure everybody would comply because nobody wants to spend a lot of money buying petrol that we all know is expensive at this time.
If you come just a minute more beyond 8:30, because you already have a grace of 30 minutes. So now you come a minute beyond 8:30. That 8:30 itself alone is 1 liter.
Okay.
So anything from 8:30,
extra liters will go.
You from 8:30 to 9.
Nah.
Is 2 liter to 5 liter. So anything from 9, don't come. We'll stay at home.
Okay.
So that's why if you don't come for 1 day, there's penalty.
There's a penalty.
You know, aside your 5 liters already, you are going to collect punishment, to serve punishment. So, but because you now know, okay, my boss or my teacher will flog me, because they will discipline you. Sometimes when you are walking around the road, you see where the teacher tells the apprentice to kneel down.
I've seen that a lot, and particularly I find it a bit embarrassing because these are grown-ups.
It doesn't matter.
It's not like a child, like a toddler that you're asked to kneel down.
They have to be disciplined. That's
interesting.
Whosoever is teaching you, even if you are bigger than him in size or you are older than him
in age,
you must respect that person. That's what we talk. That's what I call loyalty.
That's very interesting.
So if you don't have that, nobody will be loyal to you. The business itself will never be loyal to you, and nobody will come and learn under you and learn properly. Because almost what you do to your master is what they will do to you. So aside loyalty, number 2, like I said initially, you have to be patient.
Okay.
Because sometimes you see your boss might call, your teacher, your master might come and say all sort of things to you out of anger, maybe because him and his wife had one issue at home. Then he comes to the shop and pours everything, transfer of aggression. So swallow everything, because it's a learning process. You are learning. So you have to be patient. So that patience is another thing. Then again, the process of learning fashion designing, you have to always make sure you practice, because practice is one thing that makes you know what you have learned today. If you see your master doing something and you don't try to do that same thing at home, because it is when you practice, you come back and say, oh, master, I made a mistake here, please put me through, how did you do it? He will then teach you the proper measurement to be taken there, the pattern of drafting, how to cut that same thing you were finding difficult the previous day. When you practicalize it the next day, you now see, oh, you are now better at it. So the process of fashion designing, you have to learn to practice every time, not just practicing once and rest. You will what will encourage
continuously and repeatedly.
Buy your machine, keep your machine at home. After you've learned,
that should be like a take-home tip. Even while you have registered for the training process, get your own sewing machine in the house or wherever, and keep practicing at every given opportunity. And we also encourage you to buy your own fabrics. Even if it is this fabrics, this Ankara they sell 1,000 for 6 years. Cut 3 years out, make up and down. Make it top and the trouser. If it is cutting, come, we'll show you how to cut it. After you've learned how to cut, now go and start joining. Then the next, I said divide it into 2. The next 3 years, you are going to mark it. When we talk of marking, is the parts you are going to cut. So you mark it. If you are making a mistake in marking, then your teacher will put it through. See where you're getting it wrong. So that's what we thought. You have to be act of patience and the act of practicing. So after that, what happens is now you are now becoming a master. Because you have been practicing over the time, you have been patient, you are regular in the shop. Not today you come to the shop and next time we see you is 2 days after. After 2 days, or maybe next week, you create excuses. It's about staying consistent.
Yes, you have to be consistent. So you stop creating unnecessary excuses. Not coming to show. Those are part of the processes you have to learn and you have to go with, because discipline is what matters in this business.
So from your own wealth of experience, and obviously you have undergone training before you became a professional and then you ended up having your own brand, what would you say is the most difficult aspect of the training?
The most difficult aspect of the training is just that beginning part. You know, when you are learning how to tack button. Then you're learning.
Tacking a button is easy. I can tack button myself.
The button you tack, you can't compare what you tack to that of a professional.
I mean, my button tackings are usually neat.
No, when we talk of usually needs,
Now,
if we check your work,
but I can't remember when last I tagged a button.
if you check your work and that of a professional, there
Nah.
are always difference. If you talk of tagging of button,
Nah.
there are number of threads
Okay.
you must use for each button. Like the press button now, number of threads you at least use minimum of 4.
I don't think I've ever tagged a pressing button before.
Then you talk of normal regular buttons or
Okay.
normal button down shirts, like the office shirt. There are also number of threads you have to use.
Okay.
So when you are not using that, what happens? The customer wears it for
That's
once.
a lot of attention to detail. There's a
True.
certain number of threads you have
Yes,
to use.
and the measurement.
For me, I mean, I'm probably telling you that I tag buttons. I do not care how many threads I
That's
have
why
to
I said-
use. I just tag and it stays, it doesn't fall off.
That's why I
and,
said
and I'm
if
good
we
to go.
check number of buttons you've tagged and that of a professional, they can never.
There's
be
a huge margin.
serious one.
Wow.
So there's always in you. Maybe you might be seeing that, oh, I don't tack up, and this one says, oh.
For me, it's about the fact that it stays and it doesn't pull out.
No,
that's all. That's
the
all I
whole
care
idea.
about for me.
But true, that is the aim, that you tag everything. Number one, aside from being tightly sewn, number two is that at least let the measurement be equal. Now you tacking button, you might just read anyhow, and even your arrangement in the arranging the holes of the button, you might just read haphazardly, not following the rules in them. So everything has rules, and has what you learn through that process. So that beginning aspect, learning a new design, learning new aspects in fashion is always difficult. But when you are into it, it has gotten into you, mashallah, you see yourself swimming in it.
Alhamdulillah. So let's also talk about how we have talked about it partly before, how Islam influences what you do. Now, as a Muslim fashion designer, have you had a situation where you have a customer who brings a ridiculous design? I mean, a design that would be like astaghfirullah. Have you had that situation before? If yes, how did you deal with it? So that they don't tag you as per, this tailor is somehow, and perhaps you start losing patronages from that.
No, we haven't really had something like that.
Okay.
Where people come and bring ridiculous designs. All those of ridiculous designs, I know maybe what we mean is maybe like these jeans, all those, what's the name of that jeans again? Crazy jeans.
Yes,
no,
the one
like
that is torn and
things like that. We haven't done anything like that because that's not our that's not our specialty, sewing of jeans.
No.
So if you talk of normal traditional wears like suits, shirts, and other things, we haven't really had such challenges.
Okay.
And when we have, then inshallah, Allah will help us, give us the proper thing to do at that time, inshallah.
Now, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, this is still Knowledge for Edge with Abdurrahim, and we have been talking with the MD and the Chief Executive Officer of Bubu Fashion World. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, it has been a very, very interesting conversation. So at this point in time, would allow you to sell your market as much as possible. So this is your chance to tell our viewers about your brand, tell them your social media handles and how they can reach out to you.
Now, Bismillah, we are Bubu Fashion World. We call us Bubu House of Fashion. We sew male attire, especially. We sew the suits, we sew shirts, normal office shirts and normal casual shirts. We sew pants, we sew joggers, and whichever kind of designs you have, traditional wears, senator wears, you bring them. Even if it's designs you feel is out of the world, you bring them, then we sit down, we talk about it, and then we'll bring out something for you uniquely. And all our designs are uniquely sold. So we are at number 6 Iron Robert Street by Igun Central Mosque there. So anytime you like, you can just drive in to check us out and check what we do. So pray Allah makes it easy for all of us.
I mean, your social media handles.
Now, for Instagram, for Facebook, just at Bubu. Even Twitter at Bubu. Even on Twitter, TikTok, everywhere is at Bubu.
Alhamdulillah. So Eid is just around the corner. Do you have any special promotion, any special offer for your clients?
Yes, for those Muslim clients who want to do Eid, though from 8th of this month, from 8th of June, we'll stop taking any orders. So we still have time between now and 8th of June. So those who want Tailor Bubu to handle their dresses for Eid, you can still bring them for at 20% discount, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Now, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, this is how much you can take on today's episode, inshallah, until we see you on the next one. For now, is assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.